So today we are doing our continuation of Derek Dingle. So our last show, we watched some of Derek Dingle's magic. Some of us were a little, well, I don't know, a couple of us were on the fence. I was a little on the fence about some of it. But today we're going to watch, Alex, we're going to watch what we would say the best of his close-up magic, right?
This is the stuff if you were a layman and you bumped into Derek Dingle, this is mostly the material that you would see because this is his commercial magic. This is mostly the magic. There's a couple of the, magician fooler-like things, but I think they're on the fence. They might have been things that he still did for layman, but this predominantly is material that he did and was in his act.
Is this the same era as yesterday's?
This is probably within a few year range of the one that we saw in the last one, yes.
But he's in practice on the stuff because it's his working repertoire.
That's correct. You don't see him struggle or pause, and the jokes are there, and you see him actually interacting because, like you said, it's the stuff he's really doing. So yeah, it's much different set of magic today, that's for sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah? What's that, Aaron?
Well, for example, in this book filled with his magic, you don't see anything like his standard ambitious card routine, but that's the kind of thing we're going to get to see today. So it's really quite exciting that he's letting go. Because, when I was coming up, you couldn't find a recording of Derek Dingle doing his actual ambitious card routine as real life ambitious card routine.
No.
Not one where the deck didn't change color 3 times. So this will be
Exactly. I think mostly guys that had material like what Derek is showing us today, at that time when they were putting the book out, that was the pro material. That's the stuff they really made their living with. That's not the stuff they're going to put in their magic book, right? It was a different time.
Well, at least not him, for sure.
At least not him. Yeah.
All right, we looking at the right screen?
It's us.
These are old English pennies.
Can you hear that okay? Everything good?
Yes.
1967. Do me a favor. Would you examine these coins? Make sure they don't bend, turn, twist, anything like that. Okay? All right? Hold your hand out flat. Please do me a favor. Don't bend your fingers. Okay? If you bend your fingers, I can't get inside your hand when I'm doing this trick. Okay? Watch. 2, 3, 4. Okay? Watch. One at a time. My left hand. And your right hand. Ready? Feel my palm, my fingers? Mm-hmm. Can you feel anything? No. It's because there's nothing in there. Watch. I'll do it. Yeah, watch. See the 4? Mm-hmm. Did you feel the first one go? Yeah. That was number 1.
That was great.
Wasn't it?
Great, right?
I've literally never seen such a flat hand.
Mm-hmm.
Have you all ever seen quite such a flat hand?
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
And legitimately, she can't feel that coin is there. It's really good.
That was literally more magical than anything that happened in yesterday's.
You're totally right.
You agree?
Yes. I just got dingled.
I got dingled.
You got dingled down. All right, let's dingle down on that.
I have 3 left. Now watch the last 3. You see the 3? See my palm? Feel anything? No. I told you before, there's nothing in there, but remember, it's going to go from there to there. Watch it. Go to the second one? No. I'll do it again for you. 2 left. Watch the 2. Ready? Keep your hand flat, fingers, nothing in there. I love this trick. I could do it for hours and hours. Watch the last 2. Did you feel the 3rd one go?
Yes, just now.
Very good. I have 1 left. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I take 1 away, how many would you have left?
3.
And I'd have 1. Close your hand tight. Make sure I can't get into those 3. Did you feel anything when I did this?
A little bump.
Just a little bump. Didn't hurt. Obviously, didn't find a way to satisfy you yet, huh? Open your hand. You better have 4 in there, else I'm in dead trouble.
4.
I said that.
Well, first of all, I have to say I stand corrected. Of course, first palm. What a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Lotus, with an assist from Newell. But also, relative to what we've been watching the last couple of days, have you seen a dirty joke thrown away so appropriately?
Yeah.
Derek Dingle just showed if you're going to do a dirty joke, how you do it so that it doesn't pause like the sound of a crying person in the back. You know what I mean? It's just a terrible disaster feeling in a room. He literally said something inappropriate and then threw it away so directly, it's like nothing happened.
It's almost like he's had that happen before and he knew to like diffuse it immediately because it could go bad.
And we haven't seen that from some of the other old timers in the last few years.
No, they definitely did not have that awareness or filter in place.
And it's hard to say, right? Because maybe, you know, when you do inappropriate material like that, you learn how to do it so that you never actually have any blowback. And so it's possible he uses that joke all the time. You would never know.
He said that to my grandmother and she didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
Just to clarify, Mystic, it was when he was rubbing her hand. He was like, "I could do this all day." I mean,
No, it was something else. He bumped her.
Yeah,
right?
he gave her a bump. Yeah, something about satisfaction or something to that effect.
oh, that flew right by me.
It was subtle. It was how
Yeah.
you do it if you're gonna do it. You know, I always think about like what do you call it? Density. You know, like high def, like a lot of moments, right? So you have room when every moment is a moment to have some of those moments be little dots and some be big dots. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of thread count happening, and it's not all registering.
And to your point, I think if there would have been a little bit more of a giggle when he threw that line out, he probably would have been able to bask in the glory of that a little bit, right? He's probably real crafty in that way. He knows how to like play the line or just let it slide by.
And that's actually useful, everybody, even with clean jokes that die.
No doubt.
Like when a clean joke dies, it's hard at first sometimes not to just stand there and let that wash over you. It's important. Like, you know, or you say a joke that dies and you say to the audience, well, that died. You know, it's not always necessary.
Or the best. Some of these I just do for myself.
Yeah, classic. You guys ever notice how Johnny Carson made a whole act
He was the best at it.
of being annoyed with the material?
Yeah.
What a blessing. Well, that was beautiful.
Yeah. You want to watch another?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
That was so pretty. I would watch it all day.
All right. This time it's going to be a little card magic.
Hey, look, poker sats.
One odd card, okay? It's different than the others, and I'm going to try and get somebody to actually select that odd card. All ready? Now, first of all, before anybody does that, I ought to show you what the funny marking is on the top of the card. See, it's right up in this little left corner here. You might not be able to see this because it is rather a distance, but oh, there it is. See that marking up there? I'm actually going to try and get that odd card to be selected by somebody, okay? Now, in fact, I'm willing to put a little bet that I can get somebody. No, I don't suppose gambling's allowed in California either, is it? No? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it another way. Look, will you please, as I'm dropping these cards, just say stop somewhere, okay, would you? Stop. Just there? Fantastic. Look at that. And I guarantee you that you have selected the one odd card from this deck. Okay? Sorry about that. Anyway, I should have gambled. As you could see, you really did pick the one odd card out of this deck.
Man, really get to feel what happens when you're, that's really the feeling right there of big convention close up and that sad feeling that comes when you're standing and you got a seated person, you got a bunch of magicians far out in this terrible close up environment and you're doing great magic and it barely even gets to the front row because
That's exactly right. Yeah. That was before they had the TV. They would have the camera in there projecting it up so you could really see what it was
No,
doing.
that's even with that. In that
Oh,
room,
really?
there's a giant screen in that room. Totally. I was in
Oh,
that
I
room.
didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Flat as flat could be.
That trick remind you all of sort of the trick that's in Nepal. It's a classical trick where you show the deck is one color, they pick out there's one card that's another color. They take out the card and it's wrong, and then you turn them over and they're all the opposite color. It's like that trick, but the rainbow deck really ties the room together, doesn't it?
No.
Yeah. That's Senator Crandall, right? That's Derek Dingle's handling of Senator Crandall's trick, because he's the one that sort of made that plot with that odd card with the rainbow deck a contemporary thing, and that's Dingle's handling of it. I mean, you saw the way he gets in and out of the thing, and it makes it, so.
What's the name of that trick?
All but one, I think, is what he calls it.
All but one.
Yeah.
Odd card, it says here. I don't know if that's
Oh, that could be it. It's probably what the title is there. I would go with that title.
but there's definitely a take on that plot in the first couple effects in the second half of the Paula Pulp, right? I mean, I would say it's a classic simple effect. Now, in that, it's a very simple thing. What Derek's got is a 5-card slug and then a quick bit about gambling,
Mhm.
Really interesting. I thought he was going to do some kind of Chicago opener or something when he was getting started there,
I'm loving this Dingle Day so much better already.
It's Dingle Day.
Yeah.
So you want to see more? You want to dingle down?
Let's dingle down.
Split it, then dingle down.
Ooh, so this is the real layman stuff here.
Hey, before we do it, can I ask one quick question? Alex, he knows the answer. Can you tell me in your mind, maybe this is a good one for Newell too. I've always wondered what the appeal, particularly of doing coins of cross with copper coins was.
I don't know. To me, it always seemed better with silver coins. He says something about being British. That's why I use these British coins. I don't know. I've heard someone say something about in true close up with one person, the shine on the coins might be too distracting if you're too close up, and that those brown coins are a little bit more innocuous, but I don't know if I buy that.
I have a hypothesis. I don't
Sure.
know. I don't know if it's true or not, but if you're performing for magicians, right, who are very familiar with the concept of shell coins, then maybe, just maybe, when you use copper coins, they don't suspect that, they're not as common.
Could it be
I would agree. I would agree
Windows?
with you, but
Could it be
hopping
Windows
halves
in the purse
exists.
palm? Could it be Windows in the purse palm?
Maybe. I would say that hopping halves exists, and I would guess that every person in that room watching that lecture probably had hopping halves, so they would know about that gaff. It's an unconventional gaff to use because people don't use it as much, and maybe that's the answer, right? Because no one else is using copper coins. I'm going to be unique because I use copper coins. I'm not sure.
Now, didn't Vernon use some Australian coins in the kangaroo coins? Wasn't it a patter line at some point too?
Yeah.
It's like that throwaway line. All right, moving forward.
So,
All right, let's get into
so
this next one.
Yeah, I was going to say this is now we're going to get to see the true Dingle layman material, because this is as classic of a layman trick as you can get, and it's a good one.
And classic and original, as I remember. This is one of those tricks from his original repertoire that really was in the act.
Original enough that I remember someone ripped this off and put it out as a marketed effect in the 90s.
Ouch.
Well, then it's about time, right? It's due. In these minutes, we're going to see it on the good, the bad, the ugly. Right.
It's due for another rip.
Right. Take another pull.
Because this is a real close-up trick. Do you have a quarter in your pocket by any chance? If you do, it would be a lot better than me using one of mine. Okay, I don't want to touch it. Get rid of the others. Hold it flat over the table here, in your right hand. That's on the end of your right arm. Thank you. Watch. Just as a test here, which hand, hold it flat, which hand contains the heavier object, your left or your right? Just as a guess. On my left. No. My right? Yes. See, what is the heavier? It's got to be the heavier, because this is the lighter. Okay, now hold it flat. Watch.
Magicians love jokes like that, by the
Yeah, they
way.
do. Yeah,
We love those jokes.
Oh, I love jokes like that.
Now, I promise I won't burn you. When you deal with Derek Dingle, you never get burned. Watch. That's it. Take your hand away, I don't leave tips. Actually, I do leave tips. The only tip I leave is to keep your eye on the quarter and cigarettes. It's not a great trick. Only works if you turn it anti-clockwise. Do you know if Germans smoke their cigarettes this way? No. Because if they smoke them this way, they burn their lips. No, you don't. Did you happen to catch me, honestly, sitting right this there,
No.
go into my pocket and exchange quarters?
No, I did not.
That's why I'm working. You're enjoying yourself. I did. Hold your hand out. See, look. What I did was change quarter. This is a special quarter. It has a bullet hole in the middle. In fact, the last Italian wedding I was at didn't like the trick either. I always figured that was cheating. Figured a real magician wouldn't need to cheat. He would borrow a real quarter and a real cigarette, and with no sleight of hand, he would actually make it look like a cigarette went through the middle of a quarter. That's only if he was a real magician. No such thing, obviously. Watch it when it comes out. You can see it. You can go through it. It didn't have a hole in it. Did I do that right? Do me a favor. Don't lose that quarter. It's very valuable. Still a bit warm in the middle. Put it back in your pocket, and thank you very much for coming up. I appreciate it. Wow, I got a couple of puffs and a cigarette.
Yeah.
Smoking had become illegal within, a few years of that, so he was still getting jokes out of, hey, I'm smoking inside and that sort of thing, So
That was great though. That routine's really so when someone put that out on the market, is it, you're just saying that all they did was copy the fact that he added that extra phase, that extra bullet hole?
and they had a different gaff, but having the two phases hid the fact that the other thing came in and it was a little bit different. But it was some Canadian company put it out, but it was basically Derek's structure there that we just.
And you're saying the whole sort of sucker, paper tear, egg structure of doing it once, pseudo exposing it, and then doing the impossible with the, here's how I did it. I had an extra thing.
And
Yep.
And you say it was Canadians?
It was. I don't remember the guy's name that put it out. I think Cameron Academy of Magic put it out. I don't remember.
Canadians. It was Gary.
Canadians. Interesting.
It wasn't the actual Canadian government, Steve.
Oh. Okay.
They're not trying to tax your liquor.
But it was interesting that came out and it was clearly Derek's piece, and those things happen in magic. Unfortunately, it's sort of the dark side of magic and magic sales.
Well, for me, that routine, Alex. I mean, for me, the problem, not that there's a problem with the classic cigarette through coin, but there's obviously one big glaring issue with it, and that is that if you can't do the switcheroo really well, then the audience is going to immediately, they're going to just know that something happened, right?
It's like doing a coin vanish with no structure around it. I put the coin in the hand, it's gone, it's got to be in the other hand, right? If there's nothing else to go to, that's the only solution you left your spectators with, right? I think it's the same thing with a trick like this. You put it through, you put it on their hand, they're going to go, oh, obviously there's another one and I just don't know that it exists, right? But with having two quarters in play and having the bit about the bullet hole, there's enough smoke going on there that it could all be plausible, and it raises the level of impossibility, and it makes it seem like the whole thing could have been magic.
Right. I guess you're saying it's like the too perfect theory, and then by adding the magic way and the false solution to it, you actually at least give some semblance of it. Because
it's plausible now. right?
When you're looking at a Johnson cigarette through coin, it is really one of the coolest illusions in the universe, right? And it can use a little help. I mean, Adam, to your point, one of the things, I used to work at a magic store called Magic Masters, and we used to do a lot of cigarette through quarter demos, bill through quarter. And I was always kind of amazed at that point. I was, scared to switch stuff. I mean, I learned the Bobo switch, but I was kind of afraid to use it. But the thing about the cigarette through coin is that you borrow a quarter and you borrow the bill of the cigarette, and it had that beautiful structure in it that made it really easy to do a switch without getting caught, and even a non-sleight of hand switch.
And in a magic store setting where you're buying something like that, it's like ideal magic effect, right? I borrow the quarter, I borrow the object, they penetrate, I give everything back, and I'm just magic guy. I mean, it's got a lot going for it on the surface, until you like learn about sleight of hand and like structure and like how to actually do magic. As a person coming in and just buying a magic trick, that's a very attractive idea, all of it. It's a very attractive idea. And I could see a lot of those quarters being sold and a lot of people putting them in the drawer, and that's why that one probably became a drawer trick for a lot of people, because they didn't do what you did, right? They didn't learn how to do that switch. They didn't learn, the actual mechanics of the thing to get it on its feet and make it be a real piece of magic. So yeah, it's unfortunate. But something like this brings new life to the whole thing, right? It's like a new idea. I love it.
It was the first borrowed coin trick I ever learned, because it really did have a structure-based switch. You would just take the quarter from them and you'd say, now you take out a bill, and you just put the other one on there, and it would be totally, very, very deceptive. You didn't have to do anything real well.
Same here. It was my first too, Aaron.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Did you do it that same way?
No, I did it poorly. I mean, I think when I first got it, I probably did something akin to, let me borrow the quarter.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know these
Bobo
things.
did.
I was like 7 years old, so I didn't know these things. But just saying that it was definitely the first gaffed coin trick that I messed around with, and I didn't know about structure back then. But I guess you worked at Magic Masters, so you guys were taught exactly how to present that trick for
Move for move. We were not allowed to deviate from the method we were taught, and that's how I got to learn how to use a thumb tip, and that's how I learned to do, all of that stuff. I didn't understand the word structure existed at all. I knew that when I did it the way I was taught to do it, no one caught me.
Right.
It was beautiful. It was sort of after learning about structure, like 15 years later, I sort of realized the extent to which those routines were so beautifully built that we learned,
I had the opposite problem with that trick. I bought the trick and it was like right around the time when smoking became illegal. So I couldn't borrow anyone's cigarette to do the thing. And I did the trick a few times with the bill, like Aaron mentioned, and you roll the bill up into a tight little bundle. So it's about like a cigarette, and you rub it on the thing and it goes through the thing and you pull it out and there's their bill. But that rolling up of the bill took too long. And if I brought my own bill, it felt suspicious. And that's what made it a drawer trick for me, because there was just no more cigarettes. And unless you smoke yourself, that's a tough one to sell on the regular, I think,
Well, we used to do it with the bill, and it would take a moment, but it was nothing like the bad experience I had trying to roll
you
up.
probably had the bill in the counter. It was probably sitting next to the coin. That's how I remember it was in the magic store in town here. It was just sitting there next to the coin.
No, we borrowed it, because
you borrowed it. Okay.
That was the cover, but we had the servant, and that helped. I mean, that's the kind of trick that you really do need to end clean. You know what I mean? If someone ever said, well, what do you do if you can't use the servant? I don't know what I would have said, because, at the end of it, you pull that bill out of the coin and it's impossible, and you toss the bill down, you put the quarter down, and you're cool. But if you couldn't do that, then the trick wasn't too perfect. It was, let me see that hand.
Right. I think Dingle has actually a really nice solution to that problem. Like watching that, I'm learning how Dingle chooses to hide his dirty things.
Can we just watch the last? Because I thought that it was beautiful, the final moment when he pulls it out of the second coin and passes it out.
This is a little close up. So.
Yeah, let me just cue it up one moment.
And a heck of a lot more interesting than the first switch for the sucker phase, which is like this crazy palm change.
All right, here it is. I've got it. lined up right here. Can you see it?
Of a quarter. That's only if he was a real magician. No such thing, obviously. Watch it when it comes out. You can see it. You can go through it. Didn't have a hole in it. Don't I do that right? Do me a favor. Don't lose that quarter. It's very valuable. Still a bit warm in the middle. Put it back in your pocket. And thank you very much for coming up. I appreciate it.
That other coin is a magic wand the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
It covers all the dirtiness of anything that could be dirty, right?
And it's flaming. You know, there's nothing like a flaming thing to really just, he didn't have to move it very much for everyone to be like totally focused on it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also beautiful how short it was. When he got to the money shot, he put it in, took it out, gave it back. You know?
One of our members, Ed, says he gets the lit end awfully close to spectator's hand a couple of times. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
I think that's a tactic. I think that's making sure that hand stays flat and there's never any clenching or grabbing or looking at the coin. I think that's intentional, right? There's a flaming object being waved around. He's like English and drunk and, you know, yeah, stay back.
Oh, didn't he say, and you can't gamble here ever? You can't gamble here in California? That's clearly, he'd already been complaining about smoking.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
He was of that age and generation when you really thought if they put up enough of a fight, the cigarette ban thing wasn't gonna like go widespread.
It wasn't gonna stick.
All right, let's move on. Let's watch the jumping card trick. This is
this is a good one.
Yeah, this is another great one.
Would you take those cards and deal 11 cards face down into my left hand out loud?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Thank you. I'm going to show you a little trick with these 11 cards. It's called the Fabulous. Hold on to those. Derek Dingle. Jumping card trick done with exactly 11 cards. I want 6 in my left, 5 in my right. Okay? If you would, 6 in my left, 5 in my right.
1, 2.
Excuse me. Brian, would you mind if I just check those 11 cards? The trick only works if I have 11 cards. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. May I please have one more, Brian? Trick only works if I have 11 cards. This is the Fabulous Derek Dingle. That's me. Jumping card trick done with exactly 11 cards. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. May I please have one more? Right, thank you. Trick only works if I have 11 cards. Thank you. This is the Fabulous Derek Dingle. That's me. Jumping card trick done with exactly 11 cards is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Brian, would you do me a favor and slowly count them out into my left hand out loud?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You see, the trick only works if I have 11 cards. Do me a favor, give me 3 more. It's okay. 10 plus 3 is how many? These questions aren't too tough for you. Oh, good, thanks. If I give you 2, how many do I have left?
11.
Just what I need for this fabulous Derek Dingle. That's me. Jumping card trick done with exactly 11 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. See, I don't need 13, Brian. The trick only works if I have 11 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more. Put the others back. If I don't have 11 now, I'm going to give up the whole Fabulous Derek Dingle. That's me. Jumping card trick done with exactly 11 cards. is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fantastic. 11 cards. Please take those 11 cards. I want 6 in my left hand, 5 in my right. I'm going to show you the fabulous Derek Dingle. That's me. Jumping card trick with 11 cards.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
5 in my right.
1, 2, 3.
Brian, thanks anyway. It was a lousy trick to go on with. Get back down there.
That's so great. That's like the opposite of the darn it, I just lost it. The counting trick. Yeah, 6-card repeat, exactly.
Yeah, I think
It's like
very
what
clever.
that trick wants to be, right?
Yeah, it's very clever.
magicians have been trying to fix 6-card repeat for 300 years. Yeah, it is interesting, and I'll tell you what I find most interesting about that is that the technique was super solid, and the plot. So the plot's super easy to follow. There was no jumbo cards. There was no, there was no weird matrix thing. I mean, it was just an easy plot to follow. I'm going to count these cards, and this amazing thing keeps happening. But the technique for me just made that because it seemed so clear how he was counting those, didn't it? Did it not? I mean,
yeah, I think it's one of the great counts, and it has to be done up like this for the thing to work. It's very deceptive. It's Edward Victor's. It's like turn of the century, like 1900s. That guy invented that thing. And it's, I think that the 6-card repeat comes from that. It comes from the 11-card trick, the Edward Victor trick.
does Alex, does the count rely on being here and then doing one of the counts coming up like that?
No, it relies on your fingers being between the cards so that you get a pop out of it. And then you're faking the pop at a certain point. Right?
Ah, I see. Okay.
So it's a
Wow.
sound illusion as much as a visual illusion. So there's putbacks and takebacks and all that kind of stuff. But it's, it's its own beast. It's its own beast that's for this and not much else.
Gotcha.
And there's only 2 guys that I've seen that do it. 3 guys I've seen that really do it well. Eric Mead, and he learned it from Paul Harris, and Derek Dingle. Those are the 3 guys I've seen that can really, really do that count and make it look like it's supposed to look.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I love that trick.
That could be my favorite thing I've seen.
Paul Harris has an ending to it that he does that is really funny because the count, it's a false count, right? So at the end, he's counting the cards and he goes, so there should only be 11. And then the number's wrong one more time. And he goes, that's so weird. Because when I count them, it's a totally different number. And he starts counting. He goes 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Never mind. It doesn't, because the count, you can have it be as many or as little as you want it to be. So he makes it look like it's more than a 10-card slug at the end so that he gets one more sort of like laugh out of the whole bit. It's pretty funny.
My absolute favorite version of that is with Hayden doing Matt Schulian's 8 to 12. Like, I know it's not the same effect. It's a cards across, but still there's the what Witt's done with it at the end where he's like, the spectator counts 7 and Witt's like, no, it's 8. Here, let's count them together, and then he's like, now you count them again. And they're like 12. And he's like, no, it's 13. He takes them back, and it's all that byplay. Like, I love that routine so much too. But this was great. It's great.
Really cool, right?
Yeah.
And there's footage of Derek doing this one in a trade show. And I was going to play that because there's a little bit bigger reactions from it. The problem is that you can't see any of the action. You couldn't see any of the magic stuff. So the trade-off was to get this so you can actually see the trick and, the reaction with that one guy. Maybe not as reacting as big as a trade show participant, but enough so you get the trick. You get the gist of the trick.
Sensational. I'm actually very excited to see Derek Dingle's ambitious card routine. So,
Well, you're in luck.
I'm sure it won't be as exciting as the Edward Victor trick, which is the last trick in his book. I'm very excited to see, but let's see what happens.
All right, here we go. Derek Dingle on the most famous trick of
You guys
all.
want to take a quick bet about whether it ends with the pop-up card or not?
Ooh.
I'm out. I can't bet because I know
I
what
can't
happens.
either.
I'm just curious. No need to come down and I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, let's check it out.
Now watch very carefully. I want you to name any card in that deck. Any card you like.
The 3 of hearts.
The 3 of hearts. Are you any good at estimating? How far down from the face of the deck would you estimate, though, that that 3 of hearts was, approximately?
About 38.
From the face?
From the face, 38. Maybe 40.
You said the 3 of hearts, right?
Yeah. Oh!
I'll do that again for you, watch. Look, I'm going to take it from the top of the deck, place it in the exact center. Is that about halfway down?
No.
I'll do it again for you. Watch. I'll tell you what, just to make sure we have no confusion about this, would you please sign your name across the face of the card for me?
All right.
There we go. There you go. There's no duplicate of that card in the world, all right? That's the only reason I asked you to sign it. Good. Watch the deck. Put it in the deck. Anywhere you like. Okay? Now watch. When I click the deck, did you see it come to the top?
No, I did not.
You weren't paying attention. I'll do that again for you. I'll put it face up. Okay? I'll make it very easy for you. Face up. Watch the deck, because if it comes to the top now, you'll see it, because it's flat. I'll do that again. If you do see anything, would you please let me know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I saw something. It was fast.
I was practicing. I'm going to do that invisibly for you. Watch the 3. I'm going to place it in the... Where is it?
It's here.
No, say, Squire, I've got you to sign it. So you don't trust me, do you? Remember, I always told you it's the little click brings it to the top? You know the funny part of this trick? Would you do me a favor? Hold the deck for me.
Okay.
Always keep my wallet under my pillow. I have absolutely no idea why. Would you do me a favor and undo my zipper? Just round on here. Thank you. Practice, practice, practice. I want you to notice inside I have some envelopes. Now you'll notice that these 2 are empty. This one says, Memo to Derek Dingle. Through no fault of my own, that's my real name. I also want you to notice that it is a sealed envelope. Would you just check that that is a real sealed envelope? It's not one of these self-sticker ones? Okay? Also, Derek Dingle. I wonder if you'd let me know what's inside that envelope. All right.
Right.
Yeah, that was no way resembling anyone's ambitious card. As far as ACR goes, I mean, come on. He's handling it old school.
So I got a question. What do you think the purpose of the other 2 envelopes is?
Smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're thinking
Seems
you're
more
thinking him at
difficult.
something, and it's also an out. If they start grabbing the other one, you can go, no, look, here, take this one. It looks just like this one, and then rip it open, right? I think you just have it there just in case.
Wasn't Derek Dingle one of the first guys to use what we call a lapel wallet?
That sounds familiar. I don't know if that's, that sounds, I think I've heard something like that before.
That is.
Because we've also heard of it called a Jennings lapel wallet, isn't that so?
And it's also, isn't it something else? Isn't it like the, is it the Caps wallet? Isn't it the same thing? I think it's that particular loading system. A few guys were popular for handling it, and their name was attributed to it because someone made them a wallet or made some wallets and said, hey, can I make up a bunch of these to sell my friends? You know, I think it was something like that.
Mm-hmm. He certainly, I've never seen any tape actually of Derek Dingle just ripping out his fabled pass like that. Yeah. He was really doing pass demos left and right there.
They're fire too, like under their nose
with a big giant body turn.
He did have a nice
ripple,
thing.
all kinds of stuff. But
To do all kinds of stuff.
But it was really great to see him do it, and the feints were really beautiful and fun. And when was the last time you saw someone rock a ballpoint pen?
I know
Yeah,
I was
that's old
thinking that too. Yeah.
I'm very curious, and I don't think we'll ever know whether that's the ambitious card as he would do it at private shows. I think there's a pretty good chance that's the Magic Convention ambitious card.
No, that pretty much was there's a private show
Mm-hmm.
in this collection where he's doing it again. The angles just weren't good enough to see the action, but pretty much that routine. That was the routine. He had a couple different gags. He, had a layman audience, so he was able to let some of the gags breathe longer, so the beats were a little bit different. But pretty much that structure.
And is he surrounded in real close up? Because
no, the footage that I saw, he's standing at the end of a conference room, with a wall behind him, and doing that routine, among many others. Right? He does the ring flight, and he does the cigarettes recorder, and a few others.
And it's really great. I mean, I'm just happy to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's awesome.
Really,
you see so many different ACRs, and then you see the way he's handling that. It is totally a different approach to it too. And the fact that we were taking bets on whether or not the climax was going to be this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact is that it was way better than that thing. I mean, that card to wallet impossible place. That's hard to top that. I can imagine that getting a little less response at a Magic convention, but in real life, I mean, it's hard to beat that effect.
Totally.
In terms of having someone's signed card up here inside your wallet in a sealed envelope. It's stellar.
And another thing about those envelopes, it's really LaPaul's trick, right? Because LaPaul had those envelopes. The wallet was an afterthought. That came after. In the actual LaPaul book, it's a stack of mail, right? You have a stack of mail in your pocket, and you're loading one of the envelopes in there. And then it became the wallet. And a lot of folks, they had the wallet with just their mail in there, not blank or empty envelopes like Derek had. They would just have other pieces of mail in there, even if it was just bogus mail, so that it looked like, oh, I just took my mail and shoved it in this thing and zipped it up because I knew something was special for tonight, And so normally when you see folks do that and they have other envelopes, it's other pieces of mail. It's sealed pieces of mail. So it just looks like it's a stack of mail,
That's pretty awesome. I never knew that.
Oh,
It's harder too, like as in the LaPaul book, Aaron. We were talking about this one day because you were showing me that effect in the LaPaul book. It's kind of more difficult the way it's explained in LaPaul, right?
well, it's been streamlined. I mean, the wallet really did make it a lot easier on everybody. And, I mean, it's really interesting. I was kind of shocked and thrilled to get to see that routine. Just because, Derek Dingle, when I was 15, 16 years old, and I grew up in DC, Derek Dingle was considered, at least by the people I knew at that time, to be really the most renowned past exponent alive at that time. Certainly widely considered, I would say. A little different when you went out to California and spoke with the West Coast. But to really get to see him do it the way he did it, routined the way he routined it, to get to see it the way you would get to see it, that was very much, I would say, the routine that you would probably get to see all those people that lost their mind and felt like he was the best they'd ever seen do it. So it was really just quite a surprise, especially when we're watching him do all his working material like this, to see those past demos in there like that. Just never thought I'd get to see it. You know what I mean? It's more or less what I imagined, with the same benefits and objections. But, I think it's really great, just to get to see it. Really, really exciting. Thanks for the big surprise, Alex.
Yeah. It's really cool. I love seeing the stuff. It's very inspiring. And, like Adam was saying, seeing that ambitious card routine, it's so different from what everyone else is doing. It's almost like he's trying to be honest and they're catching him. He's trying to give them this feeling like, hey, well, I'm just trying to do a trick for you, and that's like what's showing that the thing's not theirs, that it's these they're roughing him up almost as like the picture he's trying to paint, you know. And I think that's pretty clever. That's a very clever way to go about that routine, you know.
And that first phase is really very practical, really very astonishing, and a really wonderful way of using. Look, the rest of it's very, very dicey. Good luck to anyone, including him. You know, you're putting your life in your hands doing the ambitious card that way. But that first phase where he has him point to the card, where he comes up to here and he asks them how far down it is, you know, and he waits and they answer and then they look down and it's, you know, really, really gonna amaze people. And it's gonna work.
And it sets up the notion of what's coming, right? Like, you better pay attention or you're gonna miss it here.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes them zero in and get like right into the action. It's a very effective device, I think. It's very cool.
Really wonderful.